It's very possible and historically reasonable that Taino and other Caribbean island peoples moved back and forth into South Florida by canoe and through trade routes, especially once you zoom out and see Florida plus the islands as one connected sea road world. Here's the clean, grounded foundation, documented. Then I'll give you a powerful story outline that frames Miami as the spirit portal. What's documented and supports your story. Miami Biscayne Bay was a major indigenous hub long before modern Miami. The Tequesta built and lived around the mouth of the Miami River, Miami Circle area, positioned between the river, Biscayne Bay, and the Everglades, perfect for travel, trade, fishing, and gathering. Trail of Florida's Indian heritage. South Florida nations like the Calusa were elite maritime people with big canoe culture and wide influence trade. Florida Museum. The Calusa are specifically described as traveling as far as Cuba by dugout canoe. That's a direct bridge across the water in the record. National Park Service. Researchers describe the Caribbean as an aquatic highway. Indigenous communities moving and exchanging across islands using maritime routes. Pottery studies are one line of evidence. Florida Museum. The Florida Keys sat in the middle of routes between Florida, Cuba, and the Bahamas. Keys Indians is often used as a broad label for peoples connected to Calusa Tequesta activity in the Keys. Keys history. So your 90 miles island to mainland idea isn't wild at all. The geography invites movement, and the record shows South Florida peoples were moving far and trading far. Tribes, peoples they likely traded with and mixed with in the Florida corridor. South Florida, Peninsula, Tequesta, Biscayne Bay, Miami River, Trail of Florida's Indian heritage, Calusa, SW Florida plus influence into the Keys, major sea power. Florida Museum, Jaga, north of Tequesta along the southeast coast, commonly named as neighbors in the region. Wikipedia, asks Treasure Coast, East Coast region, part of the broader network. Miami, Lake Okeechobee region inland connection to coastal routes, often appears in South Florida context. Journal of Florida Studies, later layers, Seminole and Miccosukee presence becomes prominent in the historic period, especially after earlier South Florida groups were disrupted. Axios Caribbean side of the water, Taino, Greater Antilles, as the big Arawakan civilization of the region. Encyclopedia Britannica, Lucayan, Bahamas, culturally related to Taino. Smithsonian Magazine, Western Cuba also had distinct indigenous groups historically, often discussed in Caribbean indigenous summaries. Wikipedia, The Untold Story Outline, Miami, The Spirit Portal, Taíno Moor Tribe Narrative, Prologue, The Sea is a Road. Before borders, before paperwork, the ancestors read currents like maps. The Caribbean wasn't a barrier, it was a highway. Canoe routes, trade winds, moon cycles, and star paths. Florida Museum. Act the crossing from Cuba, Oregon, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, i.e. Haiti, Biscaya, Santo Domingo, and the Bahamas. Skilled mariners follow the chain of stepping stones. Island, reef, shoal, keys, Biscayne Bay. They come for fish runs, salt, shells, safe water, medicinal plants, and alliances. Act 2, the Keys. The first gate. The Florida Keys aren't the end of the land. They're the doorway. The Keys sit right in the flow of movement between Florida and the islands. People come through, camp, trade, repair canoes, and exchange news. Keys history. Biscayne Bay. Where nations meet, then they reach the place that feels like it was built to receive travelers. The mouth of the Miami River. Fresh water meeting salt water, Everglades behind it, reefs in front of it. This is a natural customs house of the old world. The Tequesta homeland becomes a meeting ground. Food, tools, ceremony, diplomacy. Trail of Florida's Indian heritage. Act 4, the trade. More than goods, it's agreements. Trade isn't just objects, it's relationships. Shells, fish, nets, carved wood, herbs, stories, songs, marriages, languages, spiritual rites, alliances for safe passage. And out west, the Calusa sea power stretches influence. Record even describes travel as far as Cuba, meaning the island's Florida loop is real. National Park Service app, The Portal, Why Miami Feels Different. Your spiritual framing lands strong here because Miami is literally a threshold place. River meets ocean, fresh meets salt, land meets water, Everglades meets reef. That in-between geography is exactly where many indigenous traditions place portals, places where messages travel easiest, where spirits speak loudest, where destiny shifts. Act 6, the hidden continuity. Then come the hard centuries. Missions, removals, slavery, disease, displacement, renaming. The public record often fragments the indigenous story, but the bloodlines, the memory, and the spirit keep moving. People blend. Florida nations, island nations, later arrivals, building a living survival line. Act 7. Now the village returns. And now the story flips. The portal isn't just a place people pass through. It becomes a place people return to. A real village on the mainland. Homes with greenhouses and gardens, roofs crowned red like ancestral fire, and a people telling the truth of their own timeline.